For those of you that have seen the movie Troy and are looking to understand Apollo, this will put it into a context for you. Apollo in the Trojan War. Apollo, the Greek god, played a very important role in the Trojan War, fighting alongside the Trojans during the war. Achilles brutally murdered one of Apollo's sons, named Troilus. To add insult to injury, Achilles took Troilus' life on the altar of Apollo's temple. Apollo was both enraged and deeply grieved. So he set about working on a plan to avenge his son. When Paris fired an arrow at Achilles, Apollo saw his chance. Using his amazing archery skills, he aimed an arrow straight into Achilles' weak tendon in his heel. And this is famously what ended Achilles' life. Now Achilles, we know that died from this wound that he had sustained from Apollo in the arrow. Now Apollo just so happens to be very significant into all of this with Delphi, not just within ancient Greece times, but within the modern day and age, within Delphi, Indiana, what happened in 2017, and then finding that there was another situation that had arisen with this apollyon ritual that was recently brought to my attention, and from what I've seen so far, I believe it was in the same timeline as of 2017, and it was a ritual to Apollyon. So this has been circulating on YouTube. I'm going to pull that up right now. So I've heard a lot of people with a lot of explanations about this, saying that this was staged, right? We've heard that before. You notice the date down here, February 13, 2017, that this just so happened to be uploaded, to this site. Now, I don't know if it exists any earlier than this, because this is the earliest date that I've come across. Now, it may be that it had been circulating before I had come across, like, I have only discovered this one at this point. I have discovered others, but they were later in 2017. Now, they claim that this was a secret ritual done for CERN. There's been people that have claimed that this was a staged type of, not a documentary, but they were attempting to capture on film what it was that they had claimed, right? It was all fantasy, that this was like all role play, like none of this actually existed, like this was all just something make believe. It was fictitious into the point of fantasy. It was all about fantasy. It was nothing real, but it was actually being discovered that the name that they were claimed that they were doing this ritual to was this name of Apollyon. Now, Apollyon just so happens to be one of the many names of Apollo. Apollo was a shapeshifter, and there's many myths about Apollo. There's a myth about him shapeshifting into a dolphin. The same type of things with Odin, believe it or not. Now, when you start taking a lot of this and looking at the ideology that was fueling people that were within the context of identifying with it, like, oh, geez, this is something that's so cool. Oh, well, you know, hail this and hail that and hail the demons and all that's everything that they love, right? And rebuke every demon that. But this is something on another level because it plays into the timeline of what was circulating and going on around at that time. So I'm not looking specifically at the CERN claiming that this was something to do with CERN, even though I do actually believe it was, because of the fact that when you start looking at this video, you can see when you go and watch the CERN, they do a tribute to Pan, a ceremony to Pan. So this ritual ceremony here is to Apollo, and the brother is of Pan. So you have to look at what's going on in your community from now on. Like, you don't understand that it's tied into law enforcement, and they have an agenda. So it was found that apparently this is on some school, right? And we know about a lot of the children that went out there that day, February 13th, that were from the schools. We know that David McCain, right after the murders, went to the school to sit down, to talk with the superintendent, to speak with the teachers, and to speak with the students. This David McCain is the same David McCain that has a Vital Connections website dedicated to the Kundalini sex magic that's worshipped by the Freemasons in the highest degrees in order to connect with a demon known as Yaldabaoth, which they believe is a god of this physical world, which is Satan, which they believe by killing one person that buys you like eternal life, everything in physical form. You know, that's what these people are worshiping. That's what these people, this is where it gets into the satanic. It's not something that I've created. This is something that I have come across in research, in discovering, that I believe that is 100% for a fact something that needs to be, that it's the only it's the first fucking place you start. How could you not start anywhere else when you start looking at the dates, what was going on with the planets, Mercury? These people are tied into identifying many different myths. So they look at Zeus, which is Apollo's father, right? Which is Apollyon, which is one of the many names of Apollo. They look at Zeus as being Yahweh, which is utilized through the Old Testament. And they utilize that as being into this other god known as Yaldabaoth through the Gnostics. The Gnostics believe Yahweh was this god that created a matrix around this physical world by doing exactly what it was with the names. I was telling you, that's why they came in many forms. The devil comes in many forms. He's a trickster, right? And he's going to send many to claim that they're, you know, the Almighty, that they're the Father, that the one to worship. And then if you don't worship them, they're going to threaten you with. And this is what I'm finding out from these people. You have to, this is another thing, right? I always get accused of this is something that I believe in. I think these people are 100% fucking wacky, nuts, peanut butter crazy type deal, right? But what can I say about the crime at hand on February 13th, 2017, and you start to understand what it is that we're coming across and finding, what it is that hasn't been discovered and then is being discovered, and it's not at credit of those that claimed they were going to give you these answers for years and years and lied to you about it, charged you how much dollars and put shit behind paywalls, and you had to fucking pay membership fees, You know, there was a lot of people that were victimized throughout this process. There's a lot of people that were still, and are still being victimized, and are so victimized that they don't want to be wrong. So they're just going to continue until it's like finally slapped in their face. Like, look, you were fucking wrong. It's been a fucking scam. They all lied to you because they were locals, they were affiliated, and that's why people were saying, we can't really talk about that around here. You had more than one person saying that, right? They wanted to make it all hush hush. There's a reason for that, is because so many of them are actually involved and know what the fuck is going on, but did not want to come out and say, look, we have a community here that's completely out of fucking control. We've been infiltrated throughout our local government agencies by this group that has brought in their ideology and their political points and their views into the number one spotlight, right? That's all that counts, is for, they're pushing a narrative. They have fucking agendas for the reasons why that they want to be in office, and it's because of hatred, it's because of control, it's because they know that they can get through loopholes, like protecting people like Brad Holder, because they're in the same brotherhood as them. And the guy's original suspect. The guy's out there trolling a 13 and 14-year-old girl that were brutally fucking murdered. Make that make sense to me. Please, somebody tell me. How is it normalized that somebody claims they're fucking being picked on, that they're being abused, that they're being harassed by fucking YouTubers, is going online and trolling the case? And he's associated to the fucking ideology that's utilizing Kundalini. So this is where him and David McCain, and when you look at all of these people, they're all fucking Freemasons. Nick McClellan, prosecutor. He's the same brother, same Tipton Lodge as Brad Holder. The guy that was trolling the two dead children. And then the first thing they do is they remove and hide anything on them. They delete everything. And you know what? As a matter of fact, even one of the polygraph examiners ended up deleted, along with her daughter.